It is Friday night, and that means it's another opportunity to watch us here with Friday Night Pint Live. I've butchered the intro. I don't know where my head was going with that, but I'm here with Ryan and a very fantastic Scott as we get ready to talk about some positive news, as it looks like we're about to get our Ghanaian magician, Mohamed Kudus. It looks like the deal has been agreed and a medical has been booked in. Very exciting times. And, looking at the business we've done this window and what we could still do, talking about, are West Ham better off without Declan Rice? Could we be a better team without him? That's going to be an interesting one. And I know there'll be some Arsenal fans piping up somewhere, as they do, crawling out the woodwork. But I'm sure it'll be an all rational and reasonable discussion. Nice. Well, that's good. Good topic to get into now. We went through weeks and weeks going, it's another we ain't signed no one. No one's, what's happening? Ain't done nothing. Now, like Moy said, London buses, mate.
Mm-hmm. First of all, fair play to Scott. Goes to Greece, and he brings back Mavropanos with him. The new centre back that no one's really talking about, because everyone's excited about, obviously, the potential signing of Kudus, who, I'll be honest, this signing really excites me, and I know that it ain't done yet, but it's near enough a done deal, and I think it's an exciting signing for West Ham. And I really think that he's going to add so much to our first team. I think he just excites me. From the highlights that I've seen, even last night, he got a hat-trick for Ajax. I think he's going to be an unreal signing. I think he's going to get the fans excited. I think there's a difference, as you said, Dan, there's a different feeling around the fan base at the moment, where a month ago we was all, walking around, what we're going to do. And then all of a sudden, 3 good signings, Alvarez, Ward-Prowse, and then hopefully Kudus as well. After losing Declan Rice, I think we're in a good place, mate. I really do. And I'm so excited.
Yeah, it is. It's needed, mate. It's needed, Scott. How you feeling?
No, mate. Look, I don't know much about this guy, right? And like everything, you can go on to YouTube and you see highlight reels of players, and they look unreal. But he looks like, from what I've seen, he's got the attributes to succeed in the Premier League, and he'll fit in our front line quite well. He looks an exciting player, and he's got a bit about him. So look. As I said, from what I'm seeing, for me, it's an upgrade on what we've got already, and we've got some good players.
Yeah, I think what he can offer to West Ham is he's all round. He can tackle, he can pass, he's not afraid to shoot from distance. He can score goals. He can assist, and he played some really good football alongside Alvarez at Ajax, and now we've got both of them.
Yep.
3 weeks ago we was all upset because Ajax got the City youngster from under our noses, and now we're just taking their 2 best players. So, it's crazy to think, and I just can't wait I'm not even looking forward to West Ham announcing it. I'm waiting for ex-employees to do the emojis, so then I know it's all done. And then, honestly, it'll round off a good week after obviously beating Chelsea last week. But hopefully, look, we're going to talk about the Brighton game later, but if we can get a result at Brighton as well, let's all retire. On that.
Oh, mate, I'm telling you that right now, right? I've already said it on another platform. If we beat Brighton, I'm tweeting Moyes in. I'm shameless. I don't care. I'm putting 20 quid on us to win the league.
You ain't flip-flopping again, Dan, are you?
Listen, I will flip-flop. Like, if we beat Brighton, mate, I don't care, mate. People call me flip-flop. I'll be changing my tune, that's for sure, because, boy, I would never expect it. But, I mean, and I think, like, having that positive vibe around the club and around the fan base, it translates to the pitch as well. And I'm sure that the lads in the dressing room, they're keeping an eye and listen, hearing about who we're bringing in. And obviously, Alvarez is probably talking to Kudus, and they're probably excited. The
thing is as well. I mean, I wish we was the sort of club that if Declan Rice was in our dressing room now and he see these signings coming in, he'd never leave West Ham. But unfortunately, we had to let him go to bring in these types of players. And I feel that because Declan was obviously doing the work of 2 players last season, he has for the last couple of seasons. But honestly, like with what we've brought in the Alvarez, the tough tackling midfielder. We've brought in Ward-Prowse, who is experienced in the Premier League, assisting, and then now we've just brought in someone that, for me, he's an attacking midfielder, but I think he can play anywhere across the front line. You can put him up front.
That's the versatility. He has played. He has played up as a striker for Ajax at times. Obviously, attacking midfield, I think, is his best position. But like you said, right, he has been utilised on the left, on the right. I think he's preferred either wing. I think his preferred wing is the right, which could work if we are looking to play Bowen up top. But with our striker situation, having him able to play up front is good. I would like to just play him in his strongest position where he can be most effective. So if that's going to be attacking midfield, I'd rather him play there. But I mean, statistic-wise, 87 games, 27 goals, and 12 assists for Ajax. It's a good return, and not just that, it's what he will be able to provide. Not just goals and assists; the other aspects in the pitch. I don't know, but where you guys would really like to see him mostly, like where you would play him and to fit him in, because we've got Ward-Prowse, we've got Paqueta, as those 2 midfielders there. So there's going to be some, selection headaches.
Well, the thing is, with the signing of Mavropanos, it looks like we're going to switch to a back 3. I think that's the key to what Moyes wants to do. So
I don't think we can switch to a back 3 now, Scott, with the attacking talent we've got in our team. I honestly don't. I think Mavropanos has come in as backup. If Aguerd and Zuma are fit, I don't think he starts. But like someone put a team selection up earlier, and it was like Alvarez, Ward-Prowse, Paqueta, and Kudus, like as a diamond. And like when you think of it like that, and you see the players that are being left out of that team, like Ben Rama, it's if we can get a signing in and not let anyone else go, the attacking options we got, I'll have to put it up there with the best I've seen at West Ham for a very, very long time.
With Europe, that squad depth is important,
Yeah, and the thing is as well, you're looking at, when you look at that then gives us options as well to change systems, right? So, like I just said, you could go to back 3, but it also then allows you to go 2 strikers. You could have a diamond with another striker. Do you know what I mean? You've got a system now.
Well, that diamond formation that I said, Scott, had Antonio and Bowen up front.
There you go. So it's you've got plenty of attacking threat, but then you've still got the workhorses in there, because Ward-Prowse, Paqueta, they put themselves about a bit. They get about the pitch. They're not lazy players, and this Kudus coming in, he looks like he's not a lazy player. So you've got players that are willing to work and willing to graft as well. So it's not just going to be, we're going to throw all out attack and completely change the game. We've looks like we've signed talented players, but they've got that workman ability as well. So you're not just relying, with Souček, you saw at the weekend, his work rate defensively is great, but going forward, it lacks, on the ball and that type of thing. He offers you an aerial threat, that type of business from set plays. But now you've got Alvarez coming in, who's the ball-winning midfielder, who looks to, from what we've seen, looks to put himself about. Ward-Prowse ain't scared of a tackle. Paqueta's another one, puts himself into positions, works really hard off the ball as well. So you've got that now. You've got an engine, if you get what I mean, in the midfield. Not just one player is your engine. You've got an actual engine across the midfield.
Yeah, we've got a lot of talent, but we haven't got any luxury players. No one I would consider as a luxury player in that team, because like you said, Scott, even those players that are more skilled on the ball have the work rate and the defensive side to go alongside it. So I think that is going to really do us some favours in terms of adapting to sort of Moyes and having that middle ground.
I also think that this could be a good thing for Ben Rama, because now he has to up his game. A lot of players have to up their game now, because now there's competition in this team. And that's a good thing. Successful teams who do things always have competition within their squad and their bench. And I think it's going to be good for Ben Rama as well. I think he's going to up his game because now he knows that he's probably not going to be starting week in, week out, but he's got to take that opportunity when he's given it.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it bodes well for West Ham this season. And that day when we sold Declan Rice, you know, you think that we was fearing the worst. There was a lot of people talking about relegation and, you know, we ain't got no chance. We're not signing anyone. And then look, 4 signings, in total have just made that difference. And we're still like linked with other players that we might see come in before the deadline day, so this week could be massive for our season.
Yeah, huge, mate. Absolutely huge. And the thing is as well, I think you forget it puts pressure on Bowen as well. You know, Bowen's he started the season really well, but now another player that can play in his position coming in who's a good player. You know, let's be honest, Bowen's not had a lot of competition. You know, there's been no one really to play in that right.
To his detriment, I think, his detriment.
You know, and now the pressure's there on him as well. As much as the pressure's on Ben Rama, the pressure's there on all of that. Across, you got Courtney still knocking on the door.
But that's how it should be. That's how it should be. And every day they turn up for training, they should be treating it like it's a match. They should be treating it like they've got to get in Moyes' face and say, look, I'm in your starting 11. You know, because once you're in that starting 11, you know, you've got to work your socks off because you soon find your way out of it. And that's something we haven't had for a long time. You know, even this season, like, I know he started a little bit shaky this season, but Areola, you know, I love Fabianski, but I think once Areola gets a run of games, I think he's going to be a top-class goalkeeper for us.
Do you know what? I think that, I mean, obviously the penalty save was huge, and I think in the first 2 games, he made some great saves. You know, you maybe the goals we can see you might go, maybe there's not the Chelsea goal we couldn't have done nothing about. I think that was
even he pulled off a great save at Chelsea, the deflection that was going in, and then he sort of adjusted his body and tipped it round the post. You know, so I think it's great all over. You look at, we've got a good centre back pairing now. We've got Emerson has come on leaps and bounds as an attacking left back. You know, but his defensive side, he's worked on that as well. Southal's been a bit shaky towards in the first 2 games of the season, but you know you got Kehrer that can play now. You know, there's a lot of options around this first team now, which is what we've been crying out for this for a long time. And maybe selling Declan Rice, as we said in the title, was probably going forward the best thing for this football club.
Yeah, but you know what? I'm going to get some comments on Kudus, and then I really want to delve deep into the Rice sort of situation, really analyze what, like you said, what we've got, and you know, if selling Rice, like you said, right, was one of the best things we could have done, and are we a better team this season on paper than last season? So let's get some comments. Well, Katie Adamson said about Kudus, and he looks fit. A bit of eye candy to the Hammers. So yes, for certain sections of our fan base, I'm sure he is. Phil Brown said, just need a striker and an upgrade on Ben Rama. We're definitely going to talk about what we need as well later on into the show. Right, Cross Salmon says Rice is just a pot noodle now. That would be the title of your fan cam, Nick. If he was on the fan cam, that's what I'd title it. Ray Burke said, so by the way, get some comments and are you excited about Kudus? Let us know if you're excited, where you see him playing in this team. Ray Burke says, if Kudus has a release clause, and I think he has, we may not have him for long. Now, I saw that we have got him without a release clause. That's not, take that with a pinch of salt. But the latest reports I saw, we got the deal done without the release clause, but it's a sell-on clause that is part of it. So if we sell him, Ajax get a portion of the funds, but we managed to get a 5-year deal, no release clause.
But that's good, isn't it? Because now teams can't come in and just snap him up like that. If they want to, if he plays well, then if they want to take him off us, then they've got to pay the big bucks.
But that's the thing now with this new guy in, and as well, credit to Noble. I think Noble's Tim. What's his surname? I can never remember his surname. Steidten.
Oh, by the way, Scott, this has been we've been talking about it. Can you just say the full name of our new Greek centre back we've just signed? We're really intrigued to hear you say this.
I don't know his first name, but his surname's Mavropanos.
Oh wow, well done, Scott. I
I've
think
just
it's
been-
Konstantinos.
Konstantinos Mavropanos.
He's been to Greece. That's what it is,
Yeah,
isn't it?
exactly.
He's
Only two people I speak to who were Greek that work there who follow West Ham, and neither of them have heard of him.
Yeah, I don't know whether what his situation is in the national team, if he plays it, or maybe they just don't follow the national team because
They must have been from Cyprus, Scott.
But as I said, look, we were well followed out there. Well followed out there. Like the staff that I spoke to all knew who we were. So it's good to see. But no,
I had to get that.
Yeah, I sort of guessed you'd test me on that one, Dan. So I've been practicing.
Sure. Yeah, that's it. He has been Greece. That is the big thing. Bill Clark says Kudus is left-footed. He can cover Bowen if injured. Again, that versatility I think is key. Take off Souček, put Kudus there instead. Again, it depends where, because obviously there's been times where Souček has played that more advanced role, and it's sort of like in that 10 position, like in that attacking midfield, which is crazy to me. So yeah, if that's what we're talking about, it's a straight swap there. Like Souček, it's weird. He doesn't seem to have a defined role, like a position. He sort of goes on the pitch and does his own thing, and there's no like clear, he's the defensive midfielder, he's a centre midfielder, he's an attacking midfielder. He's just a body that he does stuff.
He is Moyes' Fellaini. That's what it is. He's West Ham's Fellaini. Moyes has got Souček in there to do exactly what Fellaini did for him at Everton. The aerial threat. Probably Fellaini was a bit better on the ball than Souček is. But, look, the Souček's still got a future at his club. I see a lot of people give him stick on Sunday, and I didn't think he really deserved the stick that he got.
Scott, he was. I mean, me and Nicky had this debate on post-match pint, which is back now, by the way, if you're not aware. But I said this, from where we sit, Scott, obviously he wasn't there, Graham nicked your seat. I see you see him just make some horrendous passes in the first half, but he balanced it out with a great performance in the second half, particularly when we went down to 10 men. I think he still has a place in the squad as a squad player.
Yep.
I think.
Yep. 100%. That's what when we done buy, sell or bench or whatever it was we did, as what I said there, he's got a role to play. And with Europe, now, the good thing about having Europe is having a bigger squad and a lot of players who are a bit more quality, you're going to get them games. So while we're still in Europe, this is going to work. If we don't get through in Europe, then it's going to start getting a bit awkward because people are going to start getting a bit restless, But as I said, you've got a rotation there now. You've got a team that, you sit there and look at the signings we've got coming in. And if we get a couple more over the line, then great. And then you look at, this is our league team. This is our cup team. And you're sitting there thinking, he can replace him. He can replace him. So where, probably last season we had good 11, maybe 2 or 3 on the bench. We're probably going to have 4 or 5, maybe even 6 on the bench now that you can sit where he should be starting. And it could be a good season.
Thing is, as well, you're forgetting that, I know a lot of people don't want to mention his name, but Jesse Lingard is training with us at the moment. And from what I'm hearing, he's getting rave reviews from people at the football club, and he's working hard. And there could be a potential pay-as-you-play deal. And look, whatever you think about it, with a deal like that, if it can add anything to our squad, let him come in. If he's impressing not only the manager but the team, the players that he works with day in, day out, then look, I'm all for it. But it's just another extra body, especially for them. He probably won't play much in the Premier League, but Europe, League Cup, FA Cup, and it is only a pay-as-you-play, whatever, 6-month deal. So
the thing is as well, what we're looking at is that if you get the Lingard we had for the 6 months when we signed him last time, it's going to be a bonus. Like you said, pay-as-a-play deal would be perfect. It gives him an incentive to want to play. I think from what we heard last season as well, there was no animosity between the staff and the players, towards him and stuff like that. And he's always been well liked. So, look, at the end of the day, he's a good player. He just didn't work for him at Forest. we probably got the best out of him. If he can recreate any of that in any of the games that he plays, then he's going to be an asset to the side. So, listen, pay as you play deal, I'd take him back.
Yeah. And I think, look, I can understand the sort of hatred towards him. Obviously, he chose Nottingham Forest over us, and it was like obviously money. But look,
he also pitched us out massively though with that will I won't I.
I know, but the way I see it, if he comes in, he gets his head down, then he produces on the pitch, then I think we can sort of get behind him and want him to do well. Because look, we all make mistakes in life. You know, we all do. But yeah, look, it'd take a lot for people to accept him back if they ever did. And I understand that. I really do. But as I said, if he comes in and he gets his head down, works hard and produces on the pitch, then I think after a few games doing that, I think people will start taking to him again. But he's a good option to add.
Did make me laugh though that apparently he said like, oh, you know, it feels like his second home and all of that stuff. But he came out on a podcast and said, oh, he didn't feel the love from West Ham, but he felt the love from Forest. And it's like, okay, now you got nowhere else to go. You got no other homes. We're the only home offering you a home. The
thing is with Lingard, I think he has got options. I mean, if he really wanted to go to America or Saudi Arabia, I think he could. But if he's willing to get his head down and, as I said, work hard, then look, I'm all for it. You know, he's not going to start. He might not even make the bench some weeks, but if he's what I've heard,
his profile's massively fallen. I'm not sure any Saudi clubs are in for it. But yeah, I think like clubs like America, you'd have to take a pay cut. He'd be out of the spotlight. Forest run, I think, really damaged his reputation.
Not only that, do you think it sort of?
I'll tell you one thing.
It back down to earth.
Bank account.
No, it didn't.
Yeah, do you know what I mean? It sort of it grounded him a bit more, you know, because it didn't work out because he was fully expecting to go there and smash it the way he did for the 6 months he was with us.
When he played for us, he was on such a high. He got back in the England squad. He just missed out on the the Euros, wasn't it, or the World Cup?
Yeah,
the Euros. He then went back to United and he thought he was going to get a second chance there. We all sat here and said, you know what, we can sort of understand that he's a Manchester boy. You know, it's his boyhood club. But then it was a sour taste that he left. Obviously, we all thought he was coming to us. He was putting teaser videos up and then he signed for Forest. But he didn't do nothing at Forest. He didn't do nothing. It didn't work out well from him. And as you said, Scott, probably woke him up a bit. Realised that he's wasted probably 2 years of his career where now he's got to sort of work hard to get back to the top of his game. But whether he's going to do it, I don't know. But as I said, anyone that pulls on a West Ham shirt, you know, and they're willing to work hard, then that they get my support.
So getting into, you know, I want to talk through the title. You know, are we better now without Rice? You know, in the squad, and looking at our midfield last season compared to this season, Rice, without a doubt, was a great player for West Ham. You know, without a doubt, we can't skirt over that. He really was. But if you look at, say, the combination of Rice, Souček, and Paqueta, right? You know, Paqueta sometimes played in in that more attacking midfield role, and then you had maybe Souček and Rice together, or sometimes it was swap. Maybe you had Paqueta deeper and Souček more advanced, right? Whereas now, say you've got Alvarez, Paqueta, Kudus, right? Or Alvarez, Ward-Prowse, Paqueta with Kudus on a wing. Either way, I think that overall that's a stronger and better balanced midfield than what we had last season. And I think overall the quality and strength in depth that we had, obviously we had Downs as well as an option. He was sometimes played in that attacking midfield role, crazily enough. Sometimes played, you know, in the Rice role. But I think we've got better depth, but better starting quality across the midfield, in my opinion. So I think we're better without Rice. And like you alluded to earlier, right? I think selling Rice is been a great thing for us. And we've actually allowed us to kick on and get better.
Yeah, I agree. Because the thing is, like, you look at the signings we've made, every player that we've signed in that midfield area is a good option and a good player. we could have gone down the route which Spurs done when they sold Gareth Bale. Do you remember when they went out and they sold eight or nine players and none of them really worked out? But like you didn't even mention Ward-Prowse as well, Alvarez, Kudus, you got Souček in there, you got Paqueta,
Fornals if he stays.
Fornals, yeah, you got the hard worker in Fornals, you got Ben Rama, you got Cornet, you got Bowen, but that midfield area for me, as I said, Declan Rice over the last 2 years has done the running and the legwork and everything for two players. And you can see it affected his game. But this season, you're going to have one that sits, Alvarez most probably, and then you're going to have James Ward-Prowse, Kudus and Paqueta in front of him, just floating about, dictating the play. And I think it's brilliant options. And I know we won the trophy last season, and it was such a high, but I think squad-wise and starting 11-wise, I think we're in a much stronger position than we was last season. And I think if we can just add another striker to this team, and you're forgetting that we've got Danny Ings as well, it will be a good option in Europe. And, so I think this is a much better squad and starting 11. Oh, look, we don't know. We haven't seen them play together yet. They might not win a fucking game all season. We could go down on 4 points. But believe me, that ain't going to happen. And I think I don't want to get ahead of myself, but I think we're going to have a much better season in league-wise than we did last season.
Yeah.
So we're going to. So if we finish 13th, that's a better season. So I'm safe.
You haven't been nicking watches, have you? What's going on here?
What watch? Where's there a watch? I ain't got a watch.
Scott saw that comment and went, "Whoop!" Slip that off.
No. When you are right in what you're saying, right? What I said to you is about with Spurs selling Kane. If they invest the money in the right way, they'll probably be a better team overall without him. And it's the same with us. Like you said, Rice has done a lot of work in the side. Look, he took us to a trophy win. Not many players have had the the privilege of doing that. But investing this money correctly that we got for that one player makes us a stronger team. And that's what I think we've done. Looking at it in a minute, look, like you said, Ryan, we don't know. We've had a good first two games. We've had a good start. We ain't had the players properly in. They ain't had that long to gel. But from what we've seen so far, selling Rice has probably been the best thing we could have done this season so far. We'll wait and see, come the end of the season where we finish up. But it was always going to be how we've invested it. And when you look at the players that we've invested in so far, they suit what Moyes wants to do. Like we said, they're workers, they're players who are technically good, but they put a shift in. So where we were saying you've got Rice was doing the work of two players, like you said, you've got players there now in the Alvarez, which is the holding midfielder, Ward-Prowse, who played that position for Southampton. But the work rate was what I was saying earlier of these players as well. When you add that, you've added quality with the players coming in. Rice is overall probably still a better player, but you've still got quality there, but you've still got that work rate that Declan Rice brought you.
The thing is with Ward-Prowse as well. I mean, someone put a stat up the other day that last season Declan Rice got 2 assists for West Ham, and James Ward-Prowse got 2 in 60 minutes.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And I think we're going to see a lot more assists from Ward-Prowse. But the one thing I would say as well is that I see all these signings coming in, and obviously Tim Steidten is obviously flying in his jet, picking up all these players, and it makes me think that are they building a squad knowing they're not going to go further with David Moyes this season? Because these don't seem like David Moyes signings for me. Like James Ward-Prowse, yes, and I think they've obviously met in the middle with that. And Ward-Prowse is a brilliant signing, by the way. But I just think Alvarez and Kudus are not sort of Moyes' side. So I think it's Tim Steidten, he's putting his mark down to say, look, I'm here for long term. Moyes has now got to earn his long term stay at West Ham by producing the results and getting this team working together.
Well, this feeds into Paul G's. I'll just read this out and then touch on it, Scott, because I put it up because what you were saying ties in. I do want to have a deeper chat about Steidten later on, but he says, who do we credit with the signings? Just Tim or Nobes, Moyes, or God forbid, Sully? Well, apparently Noble had tracked and scouted Kudus recently
No.
recommended him.
No, from what I've read, he was out looking at Alvarez, and Kudus impressed him when he was looking at Alvarez.
Yeah, and
I've got a feeling Alvarez is probably a Moyes player. That holding midfielder, puts himself about a bit, that type. Whereas Kudus isn't a Moyes player.
But it might not necessarily be a Moyes. So it might not have been some of Moyes initially, because we kept hearing Premier League proven and British. Those were Moyes' main requirements for what he wanted, and we've got one of those. We've got one Premier League proven British player in Ward-Prowse, right? So I think you're right. I think we're building a new project, and that's a long-term project that Moyes may or may not be a part of in the future, but has sound like, and you've got when we talk about credit, it seemed like he was going to stick to his guns and really fight on this and all of that, but seems like he's got on board with it. We have to see who he plays and how he plays them, of course, for the future, but so far he has to get some credit. And even Sullivan, as much as it's really hard for me to say that, has to get some credit, because he brought Steidton in and he's let Steidton go and do the deals. So
and not only that,
everyone gets some credit.
Not only that as well with Sullivan, not only did he bring him in, but he's also backed David Moyes over the last few transfer windows. We ain't an elite club that can go and spend billions like Chelsea and the cities, but we've been gradually building. Over the last, and listen, the Declan Rice money is a big part of it as well. But I think what we've gone out and spent on Prowse, Alvarez, and Kudus, and then what we've got back from Declan Rice, I think it's a great deal for the football club. And look, Declan Rice will always be in our history as a captain that led us to that great night in Prague. But his history now, sort of, in today's team with West Ham, he's an Arsenal player now. So for us, he's competition. He's competition for us now. He's a rival. So when we play Arsenal, do I want to see Alvarez stick one up Rice in the air? Of course I do. Of course I do. We want to win that game. As I said, look, I can't knock Declan Rice as a person, as a player. He's a great player, and I'll always back him for England. Of course I will. But I want to see Alvarez stick one on him. Of course I do.
And I think another problem we had with Rice in the team that I think we're going to be better this season with is he was that focal point in midfield. He was the main man. Everything went through Rice. It's like if you can stop Rice, you stop West Ham. And that's the thing. We don't have that now. Obviously Paqueta is kind of a focal point, but then you still have to focus on someone like Kudus, who's really, top quality. But then you got Alvarez on the defensive side. Like a lot of the duties are spread out, but there's no, we've got so much more balance. There's no one focal point. There's no one player that if you stop that player, you stop West Ham playing. And I think that's to the betterment of us. So I think that's another way we've got better without him, really. And the top club, just to add, Scott, by the way, on that as well, clubs at our position, like you look, Brighton is a perfect example. They know when to sell, get the most money, and then find players, reinvest that smartly, and make the squad better. That's what we have to do. Obviously, we want to get to a stage where none of these players leave. But if we've got someone like a Steidton, we run properly, and okay, Paqueta, Man City going to come back in for Paqueta. Let's plan for that. If we do sell him for 85 million, we need an answer. We need players out that we can come in, no messing about, get them over the line, and we keep moving. We sell and we move, if that's what we have to do. And then, until we get to the point where we build a team, build a club where, players don't want to leave and they want to stay. I think that's how you do it.
No, you are right, mate. You are right. And the thing is, as well, like you said, you've not just got that one man. Like, you look at Paquetá, he can pick a pass and things like that. But we saw at the weekend, what Prowse can do. He that ball to Antonio was spot on. Dropped to him straight away. I think was it four now lost it? Someone lost it, didn't they? And it went straight to Will Prowse and ping. Great pass.
And you know what, Scott? I said this the other day, mate. This is the difference between. Because Declan Rice never makes that pass.
No. No.
Declan Rice does not make that pass, but someone like Ward-Prowse, who's used to doing that, that's his game, is assisting. First thing he done was got his head up and bang. And that is where Antonio is going to breed off of that confidence, because he knows now every time Ward-Prowse picks up that ball, get on your toes, because the ball's going either through the defenders or over the defenders.
Yeah, and that's when you look at the game against Chelsea, like most games that we played last season, Antonio's constantly feeding off scraps. But like you said, when you've got someone like Ward-Prowse that you know is going to play that ball, your scraps are a little bit better than what you used to. You know, and when you look at it, like you said, if that dropped to Rice and that ball doesn't get played, that ball will probably go sideways or backwards, because that was the way that we were playing. Rice would try and drive with it.
That's one thing we've been lacking over the last few years, is someone that wants to do that, get their head up before they even look. They know where, like I'm not comparing the two players, but what De Bruyne does for City, sometimes he don't even look up. He just knows where that ball is and he's going to put it in that space. And that's what we need. A player like, not as good, obviously we ain't going to have a player as good as De Bruyne, but I'm just saying someone with that like qualities that has got that mind to just want to release the ball.
The thing is, when you look at, you've got Paquetá that does that as well. Look at the ball in the final. You know, he gets the ball, gets his head up, boom. Bowen knows where he's got to go. Bowen knows where he's got to run. Paquetá just plays the ball in there. And this is what we were saying about the understanding when you were looking at Paquetá when he came into the side before, that players weren't on the wavelength. And everyone said how Paquetá improved towards the end of the season. I don't think he really improved. Yeah, he adjusted to lifestyle in the Premier League, but I think the players around him improved to what he wants to do when he's on the ball. And I think Prowse is another one.
Yeah, I don't think he improved. I think everyone around him improved once they got onto his level.
Yeah.
But the players like him are a different level to some of the players we've got. So, fucking
let me get some comments in on that. I'll put that one up. Quick question about Friday Night Pint next week. Is there a Friday Night Pint next week? Do we play Luton Friday and transfer deadline day? That's a good question, Kent Hammers, that we have not thought ahead to.
Well, you'll probably be doing your watch along.
Yep.
So
that would be kind of like Friday.
Yeah, there won't be a Friday. There won't be a Friday Night Pint, because obviously there'll be a. I don't know if we do it. Yeah, Sam, we're going to have to, because we have to do a post-match reaction, won't we? So
stay tuned to our socials. We'll try and make it.
It's a little bit worrying, because that's going to be Luton's first home Premier League game.
Typical, isn't it? Typical, it'd be us, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
How comes they get to play 2 Fridays in a row as well?
It's a bit mad, isn't it? They've got Chelsea tonight. I think they played Gillingham, didn't they, on Tuesday in the Carabao Cup? I think they're at home for that one, but our game's their first home league game. So they're going to be well up for that one.
Well, a bit like Nottingham Forest last season.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
A lot of talk about sort of our midfield. Paul McCarthy says he won't drop Souček though, which, I mean, that's going to be very interesting. Once things get up to speed, I'm going to be keeping my eye on that. But like I said, I think Souček's role, and there's a few other comments on Souček, is, and we saw it perfectly in the Chelsea game, but he started. But it would be, if we've either got to see a game out like that, backs to the wall, and he's a great body, get him in, defend corners, stick in tackles, break up play, right? Or if we're going long ball, trying to chase a win, you bring him on and put him in the opposition box, right? And you've got Ward-Prowse whipping in crosses and long balls, and you've got people getting on the end of them, and all of that sort of stuff. And we're trying to win corners, and he's a great threat in a box. That's what I see him as.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see how Moyes sees it. And these two comments are kind of combined. Old man Shaggy says we still need a box-to-box player, which is interesting because I think when I look at it, Paquetá, I think, is probably the closest thing we have. And I think his defensive work is underrated. And Bournemouth game, you saw that. If you know
did you see the interview Antonio done today?
No.
Antonio, it was funny. He said about Emerson against Chelsea was getting ripped apart by Sterling. So Paquetá went to him, listen, let me mark him. And then within 2 minutes, Sterling twisted Paqueta and made him do a 360 by dropping his shoulder, and Paqueta went to Emerson, take him back, and he moved back over. So
yeah. Sterling had an unbelievable game. He had an absolutely unbelievable game that day. But it's interesting because AS Ochitree, sorry if I butchered that, says Souček is the box-to-box player. He needs to stop playing double pivot. And I have to disagree with this, because I think people sort of look at Souček as a box-to-box player because he can defend, and he can defend corners, and he can put tackles in, but he can also score goals at times. He's a threat from set pieces, in the other end. But the problem is he can't progress the ball from one box to the other box. And I think that's what stops him being our box-to-box player in terms of getting the ball from this box to that box. He just does things in isolation in different boxes, but not when it comes to the midfielder.
Yeah, it's one of those where he wins the ball in our box, gives it to the better ball playing players, and then makes himself available as a target in the opposition box. So when you look into that, he is a box-to-box player. He doesn't. But you've got different realms of box-to-box. You look at Chiarte, he was a bit of a box-to-box player. When he
could actually drive with the ball.
That's what I mean. That's the difference. But he would drive with the ball from midfield.
I sort of agree with both of you there, because Scott's right. There are different box-to-box players can be looked at different, but I understand, because a box-to-box player for me is someone that just runs up and down all game, our box, their box, as Dan said, can get the ball forward, but I agree with Scott, someone that can defend and score goals. So what we basically want is Souček to, if he could pass the ball, he'd be our box-to-box player.
Or dribble with it,
I still think Souček's got a big part to play this season. He's going to be vital in games. As you said, if he's on the bench and we need a goal, you bring him on. If we're losing, if we're winning and we want to defend and see out the game, good player to bring on. So, look, all these players coming in, it can hopefully up his game, because I've seen an improvement in him since Rice has gone in only 2 games. I thought he was excellent against Bournemouth. I think first half against Chelsea, very hit and miss, obviously led to their goal, and obviously the penalty as well. But I thought second half he done well, broke up play, winning his headers. So I still think he's got a lot to add this season.
I said as a squad player. But if we was looking at it and go, West Ham need a box to box, we don't, because we've got Souček, so he can be that man.
I don't think many teams now have that box to box, old type box to box player. There's only certain players that are good enough to do it. I don't even think Rice was a box to box player.
I think he was more of a box-to-box player than Souček, though.
Oh, yeah. Fuck me. I'm more of a box-to-box player than Souček. Fucking hell.
Yeah.
But I don't think that's Rice's game either. I think Rice's game for me was breaking up the play and giving its players. But as he adapted and got better and more confident, he used to drive forward a bit. But
yeah, and because, like you said earlier, you got one of you guys, I think it was you, right? He had to kind of do the job of 2 midfielders, like, because of the midfield that we had. He had to do that. He couldn't just focus on where his strengths lied. He often just took the game by the scruff of the neck, because no one else would, and would try forward and try and make something happen,
Yeah, the thing with him is, when you look at him for us, he was brilliant for us. But I always look at Rice at his best when he plays for England. When he just sits in that holding midfield role and breaks up the play, and then tries to link the play. For going from the centre halves to the more attacking players. I think he's had better games for England than he's ever had for West Ham, and he's had some really good games for West Ham. But I think his performances for England have outshone anything he's put in a club shirt, to be honest.
Yeah, which isn't usually something you can say for England, is it? It's usually vice versa, except for Maguire. This is an interesting question that we can probably give a quick answer to from Amy. What will we class as a good season? I think I've answered this before, and I've said, okay, what I can say is a good season is challenging. We're in the challenge for Europe. So maybe we get 7th or we get 8th, but we went down to the line and maybe we had a good cup run, and we can look back and say, what, that was a good season. Great seasons are when you then get, in higher back. If we got back into Europe, maybe back into Europa League, or we won a trophy and say, "Oh, that was a great season." So I think good season. Good season.
I think
Europe.
I think obviously because the top half of the Premier League table is so tight now and everyone's improving. I think if we can get into that top 10, maybe push for around 8th place, I think that would be a brilliant season. But it's also about a good European run again. Get out in group stages and then see what happens. And and then obviously, we say it every year, but the domestic cups, try to have a good run in one of them. But I think we will see improvements this season. For me, I think top 10 would be a good season. And as long as we go to games now and we see an improvement in the team and because last season in the Premier League, especially, it didn't look like we was bothered after time. It didn't look like we was trying. We was just getting knocked off the ball too much and losing games that we should have, wrapped up. We just couldn't see games out. So it's that as well.
Yeah, no, you are. Look, at the end of the day, we'd all take 17th for the trophy again. I don't care what people say. Finishing inside the top 4 isn't the be all and end all unless you're winning the league. So winning a trophy is the key thing. Staying in the Premier League, so I'll be happy with that again. But
you're telling me we won a trophy, you'd go, oh, that was a good season.
Well, yeah, we won the trophy last season. I don't give a shit where we finished in the league.
Yeah, but was it a good season? No, you say it's a fucking brilliant season. It's a great season.
That's what I mean. So, I'll take that again all day long.
You're so jaded. You've got a trophy now and you go, it's a good season if we win a trophy. Come on, Scott.
Like Ryan said, finishing inside the top 10 is key. I think with the players we've got bringing in, that's what a minimum we need to be looking at. Is it back inside that top 10? It's going to be tough. There's some good sides improving, but other sides now have got to deal with Europe. We've got a bit more experience now dealing with Europe, and we're adding quality to our side. So we may function better at the start of this season, going into them playing Thursday, Sunday than some of the other sides. But yeah, I'll take top 10 in a cup.
I think a trophy is a great season. I think it's more than a good season. I think it's better than good if you win a trophy.
Right. So if we're looking at that as a great season, we're saying a good season, qualifying for Europe again is a good season.
Okay, yeah, that's fair enough. I think as well, because there is a lot of talk about, do you know what? Like Villa look really good and Brighton look really good and you got Spurs. I don't accept that for us. We can go, we can't have aspirations of getting top 7, top 6 because Villa looks so good and Brighton looks so good. At the end of the day, even Spurs, those are teams that we should be competing with. Those are teams, especially Brighton and Villa, we were ahead of in our projects. We were competing in Europe when they were battling relegation. So for us, we should be aiming. We shouldn't just concede positions to those clubs and go, they're better than us. Well, we've done something wrong there.
The thing is as well, I do agree with you there, but this season they've both got European football, so they're gonna realise how hard it is to play on a Thursday, Sunday, and we've done it. This will be our third season in a row now with European football. So I agree. I think that they have gone above us in certain extent, but once they start playing that European football, it's gonna take a toll on them, I think.
And I think the thing is as well, when you sort of look at it a little bit last season, it was sort of a mini rebuild with, 5 new players coming through the door who were all meant to be key players into the starting 11, and we lose arguably our best centre-back in pre-season friendly. Then we lose Cornet for practically the whole of the season because there was a lot of excitement with him coming in. So that was a sort of
injured.
Yeah. So we had a partial rebuild season and won a trophy with it.
Yeah, and we tried something new and it didn't work. And we was able to still salvage a trophy and, staying up. It could have been disastrous, but we got something out of it. And now it's about, being able to bounce back this season, and off the pitch, it looks like things are going right. We just have to see how it comes together. And look, 4 points from our first 2 games, with one of them being Chelsea and Bournemouth away. I think the start is pretty good.
I think we've got 4 more points than what a lot of people would have predicted at the beginning of the season. Because, look, Chelsea at home's, always one of them games. But Bournemouth away, obviously their first game of the season at home, new manager. So I think if we can get a point at Brighton tomorrow, I think it's been a great start. You know, bearing in mind this time last season, we didn't win in our first, 3 or 4 games?
Yeah.
So it's been an improvement already. So
big shout out to Ryan. I passed you twice tonight on your walk from Anthony Hollington.
Yeah, do you know what? I was walking home from the pub as it goes. I finished early today, so I got off at the station. I don't usually do it, but I thought, fuck it, it's a Friday. I went in the pub, had a couple of pints, and Southend Road right, it's a long old walk. And I missed the first time. He drove past me the first time and he bid me, and then I see him do the hammers, but I missed him because it was so quick. And then on his way, that's how long the road was. He went and done what he done, and then come back. And I see him. He done it again. And I give him the hammers as I was trying to hold me bag and me coat because it was so hot. But yeah, cheers for that, mate. Really appreciate it. Come on, you Ryan.
Steve WHU Bell 499 super chat. Thank you very much as always, Steve, mate. We appreciate you. When's the draw for Europa, lads? Isn't it early September?
Is it 1st of September?
Yeah, the first September. Is it a Thursday or a Friday?
I think it's Friday.
Friday, yeah.
Oh, fuck me. So we've got deadline day, Luton, and the Europa League draw all in one day.
Cool.
Someone asked, is the Greek guy injured? I think it's obviously talking about Mavropanos. Because Moyes, I think, said he's a way out or something from being ready. I don't know whether it's just match fitness or...
I think he's fitness as well, and I think he's just coming back from a minor back injury as well. So I see it. They put videos up of him doing running and working on the grass the other day at the training ground. So I think it is mainly fitness. So, yeah. I mean, I don't really know much about him, so I can't really sort of judge him. I spoke to someone the other day my mate supports Arsenal, and he said he didn't really have a chance at Arsenal. He was young. So what I've seen of him from his highlights from Stuttgart, he likes to go on these little mazy runs and strike the ball. So
I've seen some of the videos that you've seen of him. He pops up in the box or around the edge of the box in an attacking threat and lashes one in. So I think he's a ball playing centre half as well.
Yeah. Well, listen, we want goals from everywhere. And I think that's what I don't think we're going to have one player that gets 20 goals or 15, 20 goals this season. So
it's no surprise. We've got James Ward-Prowse and we've signed a 6'4" centre-back.
Yeah.
All we need now is get Lukaku in on loan, and you might as well dust off that Premier League trophy and give it to us. I'm joking, by the way.
I'll tell you what, though, right? When I was watching that, I was standing there, where we stand, Scott, watching that Ward-Prowse whip that first corner in. The amount of times me and you have sat or stood there in our seats just moaning about corners and how awful they are. That was a thing of beauty. It was
Scott,
such a breath of fresh air.
It was set piece porn, mate. You loved it. Honestly, the first 2 corners, I've never seen anything like it.
Yeah, I was watching them, right? Do you know what? I saw the whole first half, apart from the Chelsea penalty. I don't know what happened. Like, I was watching it, and the internet went down, or I moved from where I was to another part.
That was when Uzo kicked in.
and the old and then I'm sitting there and I'm seeing messages flashing up saying, "Oh, great save," and all. I'm thinking, "Oh, something's going to happen in a minute. I must be behind in the stream." Got to half time, text that said, "What happened?" And he saved the penalty. I didn't even realise.
Yeah. No, that's it. So it was great. It was great. But yeah, a lot of positive comments about Mavropanos. He only scores bangers, which we won't argue that. Dan Potts from Arsenal said he was good. Yeah, Dan Potts is a mate of mine, and he was telling me he's really good. He just didn't, like Ryan said, just didn't get a chance.
Yeah, I don't even remember him when he signed for Arsenal. So yeah, I can't really.
I remember him play. I remember it. I do remember it because a lot of them were sort of hyping it up at the time. The Arsenal fans. So I remember the hype around it.
Didn't he sign in the same sort of window as Mkhitaryan and
I think they got in with what was that fucking?
Was it Arsene Wenger that signed him? Must have been.
I think it was Emery, wasn't it? How old is Mavropanos?
Oh yeah, it might be you.
24, I think.
Yeah, I think it was Emery who signed him. But this is interesting. Someone said this right, and hopefully someone has a little bit more information about this. But Moyes' press conference today, Moyes had a dig at Tiny Tim. If anyone has any, I haven't actually got a chance to see the press conference, and so I don't know what he said. I don't know if you guys saw it, but if he's had a dig at him,
I haven't seen the whole press conference. I've only seen a clip where he mentions about Kudus saying that he's not our player, but he did watch him last night score a hat trick.
Yeah,
so
I saw that clip.
That's the only thing I've seen from the press conference today.
Yes, if anyone's got the comments that he had, because I would be very interested to see what he said if he has had a dig. Well,
he's probably got the because Tim's got the company credit card and he's out spending money.
Yeah,
and Moyes has just been left to organise the Christmas do.
Moyes said Tim doesn't yet understand yet that West Ham do late transfers. I think it sounds like it was a joke. I think it sounds like he wasn't having a dig. He was just joking. Like, oh, you don't understand. West Ham do late transfers, as if to say, like, that's not what we do here. Yeah, like, but basically, it sounds like he's sort of just paying him a bit of a compliment. Like, we're getting shit done quickly. That's not how we do things here. It's a breath of fresh air. So I don't think personally that was a dig. I'm not hearing the context. I need to go back and look at it. But from what you're all saying to me, I think that was a joke.
The under 21s are now 5-1 up against Leeds. Marshall's just scored that trick.
Love it.
Oh yeah, someone just said there it was Arsene Wenger that signed him. He played in Arsene Wenger's final home game against Burnley.
Okay, so it must have been his last in the last season.
That was Wenger's leaving present for getting slagged off for all them years.
Yeah, they won. I think they won that game as well. That Burnley game, I'm pretty sure. If Moyes don't get a tune out of this team, it would be criminal. Yeah, I agree. And so this goes on to Hammers. Do you think Moyes has the tactical know-how to incorporate these players into his systems?
I think this is it. Yeah, it's learning. It's a learning curve, obviously, for David Moyes, because if he wants to be a top manager, then he has to adapt to these players and he has to get them in, because you can't have that much talent and not get them in the team. You can't just stick to what you know. And I know he wants to be loyal to certain players, but you can't do that because there's only one man that's going to lose his job if it ain't going well, and it's going to be David Moyes. So
the thing is, I think he's shown as well that he with the change of goalkeeper. We stuck loyal to Fabianski last season. And I know Fabianski threw his toys out the pram a little bit with his comment and all that, but he was probably frustrated and annoyed and thought he deserved better. But that's because he knows he's still a good goalkeeper. But like you were saying earlier, with what you're looking at, what we're building at the moment, it looks like a team for the future. Areola had to start in the Premier League at some point.
And that was a big call from David Moyes. And that was a surprise for me as well when I see Areola starting against Bournemouth.
Yeah. But I think it needed to be done, because I think Areola's game last season was affected because he didn't have that consistent run of games. That's why I think he made a couple of little wobbles in Europe that he had, because he didn't have that consistency. Now it looks like he's going to get that consistency, but he won't be playing in Europe. More than likely, we'll probably see Fabianski as the cup goalkeeper. So
I think Fabianski still has something to offer, even though it's the end of his career. So I think that switched around. I think that would be ideal, and Fabianski playing less football, will probably do him some good. We'll get a bit more longevity out of him. Ultimately, I think it's the way to go. So, like I said, Moyes. Now, this is why I'm so comfortable going into the season, because if Moyes does a fantastic job and he stays and gets a new contract, well, then West Ham are going to be in a good place, right? It means we're up there, we're doing well. If he has, if we have a real disaster run, he's going to get the sack, and someone else comes in that then starts in, and the club can identify that's going to fit this project, and then we have a fresh new start. So either way, I think we're going to be okay, because I think, Moyes, because he's got that 1 year deal, 1 year left on his deal, I don't think you're going to see the club so hesitant to sack him this season. That's it. Yeah. Either he does well and we keep him, great, or he doesn't do well, he's sacked and we get the new fresh start.
Yeah. He's probably under more pressure now this season than he was last. Because
and as Dan said, he's got not long left on his contract now, so it's less for us to pay out if we sack him now. So every game now, David Moyes is obviously under. Well, not so much every game, but from the fans he is, but from the board. And I think that's one thing with our board; they are sort of loyal to their managers, aren't they? So, but I think this season with what we've spent, the players we've brought in, I think that, I think Tiny Tim is waiting for Moisey to slip up so he can go and get Alonso in. But
yeah, but you know what? Because that's 2 seasons in a row now. The manager's been backed with signings. The club have spent money, so for that point, he can't feel hard done by in that regard. They can't say, we didn't get this, he didn't get that. We've spent.
And he's never got that back in anywhere else, has he? Wherever he's been, must be the most money he's ever had chucked at him, because he didn't really spend that big under at Everton, did he? I can't remember United, but he was only there for one transfer.
They all he signed at United was Fellaini. That was it. They didn't back him at all. And that's the thing, it's now, like you said, he's not got an excuse now. If this doesn't work this season, it's all on him. Nobody else, it's on the player.
Some people go, if he had Maguire, he got Maguire, he could have done amazing things. You'll get those people.
Yeah, but
it's all because he didn't get Maguire.
Yeah, but Maguire's a top player, but you're not going to have a poor season because you didn't get Maguire. Do you know what I mean?
Can I just say on Maguire, we had a lot of debate on him, right? I've seen a lot of stuff. I think we dodged such a massive bullet not getting him. He wants 12 million to leave Man United to sign for West Ham. He never really wanted to join West Ham.
Of course,
you know what I mean? If he really wanted, he's sitting there quibbling over. They're trying to go, we'll give you 9 million. No, I want 12 million just to leave the club. If he was really serious,
the thing is, from his point of view, it's his last payday.
Yeah, but then he's not really backing himself, and it's not like he says it's his last payday. We weren't paying him pennies. He would have got about 100 grand a week at West Ham.
But Dan, if you've got the opportunity to leave a football club and the football club are going to give you 10 million quid, you're going to want the 10 million quid, aren't you?
No, but this is the point, Scott. They're not giving him what he wants. That's why he's not leaving.
So then he's staying, because then that means he gets that in his contract.
But then at the end of the day, Scott, if you know your fifth choice centre back
on 200 grand a week, and I'm not going to get 200 grand a week anywhere else.
Yeah, but when at the end of it, Scott, the guy's a millionaire, and he would still be earning millions at West Ham. So if you're serious about your football and you're serious about being an England player, you would go and leave and make that move for footballing reasons, wouldn't you? And that's the problem. He's not going to play.
But
the fans hate him. They despise him.
A lot of football players put money first. Was it Winston Bogarde who played for Chelsea? They went, we're going to sell you. And he was on shed loads of money, and he went, I'll just go and play in the reserves or go play with the youth team. Because he was earning his money. At the end of the day, money's the main reason these footballers play football, not for the love and passion of the game. And it's annoying because they should play for the love and passion of the game, but it's money.
But at the same time, Scott, there's legacy. He can spend.
Dan, we said this when you look at the Saudi players. Not Saudi players, the players going to play in Saudi. Why do you want to go and play over there? What's your legacy? Well, you're going to be $1 million. You're going to be rich beyond your wildest dreams, and your family's going to be rich for 3 or 4 generations, if not more. There's no other reason you're going to play in Saudi Arabia. Same with, look at what Tevez come out and said about when he moved to China. And he said of his story growing up as a kid, and that move to China meant that his kids, his grandkids, his great-grandkids, his great-great-grandkids would never have to have that upbringing that he had. So I get why they do it, but for footballing legacy, why are you going to play there? Yeah, you want to play in the best leagues, in the best competitions. You don't want to go and play in Saudi Arabia.
But at the end of the day, he's not on Saudi Arabian money that you could even say, he's going to be a fucking 100 millionaire. What I'm saying is he's going to get that money for the next 2 years of his deal, going to play next to nothing football. And then he's not really going to be sought after. He's going to be a few years older, and, he's not going to have clubs looking for him. He could have come to West Ham, be a big part of this project, fighting in Europe, be a focal point in the team, a big name. That's what he could have. Like I said, I think his attitude stinks, and I'm glad we didn't sign him. And look, if you're about money, that's fine. Get your money. I don't want him at my.
Dan, I don't disagree with you in the footballing reasons, mate.
I'm just saying why. I'm glad we didn't get him.
No, I'm not disagreeing with you, but I can see why he's holding out for what he wants.
Yeah, let him.
Yeah.
But stay over there. He shouldn't be the captain of my club. People was arguing with me about him being the captain. Oh, he should be the captain. No, thanks. Zuma's doing great. Zuma's doing a great job. Adam the Architect with a £5 super chat says, I have a feeling West Ham are going to shock people and challenge for PL. We're carrying better momentum than Leicester did. Do you know what? I read the first stuff and I was like, yeah, I fucking agree with this. This is what I've been thinking. West Ham are going to shock people this season. And then I read the next bit and challenge for PL. I was like, oh, okay. We're carrying better momentum. Oh, I don't know about that, Adam. I don't know about that. But I love the energy.
Listen, we beat Brighton tomorrow. We could be top of the league. So
yeah. Do you know what? Come back to me after.
Are we gonna, if we beat Brighton tomorrow and we're top of the league, are we going to do what Southampton done when we said stop the count? Stop the count.
Yeah.
You know, when they was top of the league after about 4 games or something like that. But
oh mate.
Yeah, no, look, we're not going to challenge for the Premier League title. But yeah, I still think we're going to have a good season.
Yeah, I just think we're going under the radar with a lot of this. Everything's talking about Brighton and Aston Villa and Newcastle.
I like that going under the radar. Mm-hmm. I love that because they're not talking about us. Just let us go about, do our business. And as you said about Brighton earlier, look, they're a good club. They're a well-run club. They lose a good manager. They go and find another great manager who's being touted to take over from Guardiola in a few seasons' time. They're a selling club, but they go and find other players to come into their positions, and they are a well-run club, as you said. So
that's it. Yeah. You know, at the end of the day, if you look at that, and you know, the only thing Brighton are really missing is a bit of success in the way that they're doing it. You know, they're doing it the right way. They identify managers. So they've got a manager to replace a manager, identify players to do the same thing, making their money. The only thing they're missing is a trophy. You know, when you look at it, you know, even if it is a Carabao Cup or an FA Cup, you know, they're missing that little thing because their project that they're building seems to be working. You know, their thing was to get in the Premier League, stay in the Premier League. They're now doing that. They've got exciting players. They're making money off of these exciting players that they've said, you know, they've £100 million player they've just sold. So they're doing the things right way.
The thing is, Scott, that's why they probably won't go to that next level because when they do get good players, they sell them. A bit like what Southampton done a few years ago, and look what happened to them. But eventually, you can only do it so much, and then you start selling these players, and then you stop producing good players and getting new players, and you will go the wrong way.
But that's the thing now. They're in a position now where they've sold that big player. They've got a really good manager. They're playing some really good football. They invest that money properly and have a good run in Europe. It's the next step forward in the progression ladder. Instead of becoming a Southampton, you know,
what would he rather? Would he take dropping into the Conference League? Because I think if they dropped in the Conference League, they'd be favourites, or just take a gamble and have a run in the Europa League and instead it sticks.
I'd take dropping in the Conference League and being favourites if it was me.
Yeah, to me, because they've never won a trophy in their history, and this is a chance for them to get their first trophy. That's what my thing was: just get that first trophy, just get that under your belt. But they fancy themselves, and I can't blame them for fancying themselves.
This Europa League's a lot more competitive this season than it was the last time we was in it.
Yeah, it's going to be tough, and that draw is key, for sure. So. This is incorrect, by the way. Dan is the one who didn't want to sign James Ward-Prowse last week. I didn't say I want to sign him. I said the signing doesn't excite me. I said I'm not against it, or I'm not like really. I'm just, I'll just take it. It's a signing I'll take, but I'm not going to go like, oh my God, we've signed Ward-Prowse. And I think that's good because I think he's going to be one of them players that I look at and I really enjoy, and I'm really glad we have signed, but I wasn't excited about it. I wasn't jumping for joy. GP with a £2 super chat. If Hammers Chat or West Ham News Network gave Dan 100k, wouldn't he go? I think that's very different. It's a very different situation. If what I'm getting paid now, which I can't disclose, you took that and so we'll give you 100 grand a week. The better analogy is if West Ham Fan TV were paying me 80 grand a week, 100 grand a week, but I was miserable. I was being froze out. No one was really talking to me. I wasn't getting to do anything. I wasn't on any shows. I was getting paid and doing some of the dog work or whatever, right? But I was getting 100 grand a week. And then one of these channels said, we'll give you 80 grand a week and we're going to make you the main man on our channel and you're going to do this and you're going to get to work and flex your muscles. Then that's the opportunity. Would you go in that scenario? Because I'm going to be financially better off in the short term, but then I've got opportunities and that's the better thing. But no, I'd never leave West Ham Fan TV for these channels. But make the 100 grand a week offer anyway if you got it. You know what I mean?
Dangle the carrot. Dangle the carrot and see what he does.
You might as well, innit? Just let's but I'm not for sale.
Fucking got to go for 4 cans of Foster's and a packet of peanut.
Thoughts on Johnson's on his way out? It will be a shame to see another academy player.
Yeah, it's never really worked out for him, has it, Johnson? He just can't seem to get settled, can he? And it's what's that?
I'll just see what. Sorry, we'll come back to this one.
It's a shame with Johnson,
They
but
might not take me, Nick.
I mean, Southampton are linked with him, and there could be maybe a potential that we could see Walker-Peters come the other way.
That would be great. That would what an upgrade that would be.
Yeah, which would be a good deal all round, I think, because obviously Scott, I know you was upset during the week with Downs leaving the football club on loan, which I think will be good for Downs, if I'm honest. Yeah. I think it'll be a good move for him.
I'll be fair, mate, with the players that are coming in.
He's never going to get in front of anyone that's coming in, so he might as well go out on loan. You know,
I hope he goes and has a good season for them, and I hope he still has a future at the club because I think he's a good player.
Yeah, Southampton are going to be challenging at the right end of the Championship. You know, it'll be good for him, good experience. But yeah, but Ben Johnson seems to have gone backwards the last couple of seasons. You know, so yeah, he's
just he's got 1 year left. Get whatever little bit of money for him we can.
Yeah,
and
when we
because he obviously is a West Ham fan and he loves the football club and he come from the academy and they're the sort of players we want to see go on and have great careers in the first team. But as I said, it just hasn't worked for him, and it's a shame because as a person, I think he comes across really great. I think he's always, you see him on the training ground laughing and joking. He's light around the football club, but footballing wise, he's just gone backwards the last couple of years, and you have to upgrade that now.
Things he come out, didn't he? And when he done that podcast, he sort of had a dig at channels like ours where they say where we sort of dig at players at their performances when maybe it's not warranted. But I pulled him up in the game against Blackburn where I thought he was poor. I don't think he's progressed to what his ability.
I thought you literally pulled him up like you see him down late on High Street and you.
Shit.
No, but the thing is, he's got it there. You know, we see it when he broke through. You see how good he can be. He's versatile. Can play left back, right back, play centre half. But he's just not gone forward. No. He's gone backwards, and it's a shame because, like you said, he seems a really good lad, and you want him to do well. And as I said, when we done our end of season review and the player ratings, I put him as my worst player of the season, more because I was disappointed because I did think big things of him, and he was going to go on to be something special for us defensively, but. He's been disappointing, and like you said, he don't want to sign a new contract. I know, you're saying he likes, he loves the club. He's a West Ham fan, but they've offered him contracts. He don't want to sign it. If we're going to lose him on a free, then let's get rid of him now. Let's get a bit of money while we can. It's a shame. It's another homegrown player, another talented academy player gone.
He's at that age now, Scott, and he's got that experience where he should be an established first choice right back.
Yep.
So. he's not going to get that with us, unfortunately. So he might as well go elsewhere and drop down to the Championship, which I'll be honest, I think is his level.
Yeah.
I can't see him playing for another Premier League club.
I think he can. I think he can. I think he can play Premier League.
Depends what level. I think he needs to get back to playing regularly. He needs to build himself back up, and maybe dropping down to the Championship will
if he drops to the Championship and plays well and then he can play in the Premier League. I mean, I was just meant as now. I couldn't see any other Premier League club coming in for him now. Maybe if I was to see him at any other club, it'd be Fulham or Palace.
Yeah, Everton were linked with him quite a bit. I remember they were heavily linked.
Southampton would probably be a good move for him.
Yeah, look, if we can get Kyle Walker-Peters the other way, I think that would be great business. And it'd be good for
I honestly don't rate Kyle Walker-Peters.
I don't think he can upgrade on Johnson.
Yeah, he's an upgrade on Johnson, but attacking-wise,
Come on, Scott. Come on.
Attacking-wise, we sat there and watched him when we played Southampton last season, and he was awful.
But he played in a very poor Southampton team.
We could say that Johnson last season played in a poor West Ham team.
But he's been poor like the past two seasons.
I know.
Since he came back from that injury that he had, he just hasn't.
I don't rate Walker-Peters as a defender. Attacking wise, he probably gives us a bit more. He's probably an upgrade going forward than Soufal, but he doesn't get past Soufal defensively.
Yeah, well, that's I mean, as I said, we'll see. Best of luck to him if he does go. Obviously, Scott's been on holiday, and we haven't had time to do a preview in Scott's absence for the Brighton game. So let's do a little preview. Scott, you might want to do your. let's do it on here. Let's do your preview. Start your intro.
Do your preview, and then we clip it and pull it up as a preview.
Yeah, there you go.
Do you know what? Right, this could be a tell of the season how it's going to pan out. We got a good win against Chelsea last week. We've got an awful. You put it in the chat earlier, right? Awful record against Brighton.
We played absolutely awful. In what is it like 12 games we've played in the Premier League. We lost 6, drawn 6. So hopefully it's fucking unlucky 13 for Brighton tomorrow, and we get that win. And lucky 13 for us.
Yeah, it's one of those. But Moyes, I think Moyes, when he was talking about Brighton, he was saying, we saw last season we didn't do this. This season we're going to do this. And it's like, yeah, but we don't do that. How can you sit there and say last season we didn't do this, but you put the team out and the team played the way you asked them to play? So basically you're saying that when we played Brighton last season, the team did absolutely nothing that you told them to do. It's a worrying thing for him to come out and say that. Because obviously you should be scouting these teams before you get. Look, you can't say what starting 11 you have. You don't know that. You can't predict that. But if you're sitting here saying now that Brighton play this way and they do this, do that, you're telling me you didn't see that last season.
I agree. I mean, I was at the Amex last season when we lost 4-0, and it was the lowest point I felt as a West Ham fan for a long time. And I thought that was a day when I thought, this side's getting relegated because we had no fight, no desire. That was the first time that I see the whole away end turn on not only Moyes but the players as well. But yeah, I mean, look, last time we beat Brighton in the top flight was in March 1983, year before I was born. So it's a long time since we beat them in the top flight. So can we go there and win? Do you know, this is one game I hate predicting and I hate talking about because I've seen this so many times go into games and there's been times where I predicted us to beat Brighton. So what I'm going to say is we are going to get absolutely smashed tomorrow by Brighton. So we are going to win. And if we do lose, I'll clip that bit out where I said win and where I say we get smashed and I look like the hero. But look, it's going to be a tough game. Look, Brighton are top of the league. They've scored 8 goals in their first 2 games. I watched their game against Wolves last week. They tore them apart. They're an exciting team to watch. They beat, who was it they beat first game? Luton, first game of the season. But to be fair to Luton, they was in that game, Luton. It was only 2-1 to the last few minutes. They ended up losing 4-1. I think Luton had a man sent off in that game as well, didn't they?
Yeah, I think they did. Yeah.
Yeah. So, look, it depends what West Ham turn up to. If it's a team that wants to go out there and put it about on the pitch, and because last season when we played them there, we didn't look like not only stringing 2 passes together, but we looked like we didn't even want to be there.
Last season was reminded me of when we used to play against City and Liverpool, where we just go out there, roll over, let them play about with us a bit and give them 4 goals and then go home like, oh, it ain't too bad. Do you know what I mean? There was no effort, there was no desire, no passion in that side last season. And I don't think we'll see that this season. You know, it's far too early in the season to see anything like a dismal display that we saw there. Like you said, they've scored 8 goals in 2 games, but the opposition they've played is just Luton. And that's no disrespect, Luton. They've just come up. You know, I don't think they're going to stay in the Premier League. I think they'll be going straight back down. You know, hopefully they prove it wrong because it'd be good for that football club to stay in the Premier League. And Wolves are just shocking at the minute. So, you know, I think if you wanted to start a season, they're the 2 teams you probably wanted to start against, other than Everton, who can't seem to get.
I think with what we've got coming up as well, obviously we play Liverpool and City in the next few weeks. So I think a win tomorrow will be a massive boost going into them games as well. And it will give us a lot of confidence going into them games. Obviously, we've got Luton next Friday, but you've got to take it game by game. So if we can get a result there tomorrow, I think even a point there tomorrow would be a good result.
Yeah, I think it would be huge. And I think this is going to come down to tactics, this game. A big part of it. A big part of it is going to be tactics. And I think we have to go there, as a team and fan base, expecting that we're going to be dominated when it comes to opposite possession, right? They, possession-wise, have been, getting, I think, like averaging 62% possession in games, right? And we, in games we've been playing, we've been having far less possession. We need to, we're going to give the ball up, but we need to show the resiliency we showed in that second half against Chelsea. That's what we're going to have to do and pick our spots on the counter. I think that's how we get at Brighton, because if we try to go toe-to-toe with Brighton, I think they're going to tear us apart at the back. I think they're just going to, have their way with us. I think if we go there, play Moyes ball.
The thing is with Brighton as well is they would have been working a lot on set plays this week, defending them, because that's how they think we're going to approach the game. And we probably will. But if we sort of mix it up a little bit, and play football. And with the play, I mean, look, will Alvarez maybe start tomorrow? I think he might. He might be in with a chance of starting tomorrow. So, yeah, I think it's going to be a good game. Honestly, I think it's going to be a decent game of football. But I agree with you, Dan. If we try to go toe-to-toe with them, they'll beat us. So we have to mix it up, but we've got to play football as well. Don't go there and be scared to not play football.
Gued is a huge miss, I think, at the back, because Ogbona's probably, he's probably going to come in. Mavropanos isn't ready, so it's probably going to be Ogbonna and Zuma. And Ogbonna, I think he's experienced. He's been a great player for us, but I just think his legs might not be up to, the challenge of just how much pressure that Brighton will be putting on our back line. Yeah, I think that's my worry.
You've also got Kehrer as well, if he's fit. I think he had did he have a sore neck or something, sore back? So Kehrer can come in and play there as well. So I think Ryan's right in what he said, and like you said, Dan, it is key. Missing Aguerd is key. That's a big, it's silly sending off from him, but it's a big miss. It probably swings it a bit more in the favour of Brighton for me, losing Aguerd to suspension, because like you said, Ogbonna's a quality player, but he ain't as quick as he was. He's up there. His mind, he reads the game really well, but his body's not as good as it was.
But we need our attacking players in our midfield as well to defend from the front as well, to stop that ball coming towards Ogbonna and Zuma.
That's probably where Souček is. As much as I said you wouldn't start him, like that's where something like you have a Souček, because again, I talked about resilience. He was one of the big parts of that resilience when we went down to 10 men. So as much as I said I wouldn't really want to see him starting much this season, this could be the game for Souček.
Yeah, I think that's what Moyes has touched on in when he said about the way Brighton play. Like you said, right, we can't go over there, can't go there and just sit back. We've got to compete in the right areas. And I think what he was alluding to is he's going to try and get them to play deeper. So it gives us, or come, I think we're going to sit deeper and come and play off them to try and get them to play a bit further up, which leaves them open to the counter. So it says that, look, it's going to be banks of 4 or a bank of a 4 and a bank of 5 with the one up top. But I think the selection in the counter is going to be key to who starts. Because Bowen's obviously going to be starting on the right, but it's who he decides to put out on that left-hand side.
That's a good point what someone's just made there. Alvarez has played centre-back for Ajax and Mexico. So it wasn't, now Moyes, he probably will play him centre-back. But
you've got that risk of a new partnership, haven't you? I
think Alvarez sitting in front of him is the best option for him because he can, if the ball's coming in, he can drop back into that to help the two centre backs out. But no, I think Alvarez has got to be in there to break up that midfield and give it to the likes of Bowen and look for Antonio and Paqueta. So yeah, no, I think it's gonna be a good game tomorrow. I'm looking forward to it. Obviously, me and Nicky are going down there tomorrow. So I'm looking forward to. Hopefully, we for the first time in ages we walk out of that stadium with a little smile on our face because there definitely weren't a smile on my face last season. I tell you.
I think Ward-Prowse will definitely be a key player, though, in this going forward. Because I know you said they'll probably train for set pieces in a way. But, there's only so much you can do in a week. And I think that's probably going to be our best chance of getting at them. And we shouldn't solely rely on set pieces. We've got to find a way to create chances from open play. But I think that's going to be where we cause the most problems. I think
Ward-Prowse is one goal away from his 50th Premier League goal as well, and going back down to the South Coast. Obviously, he'll be getting probably booed tomorrow because of obviously the Southampton connections. But I mean, Ben Rama's in line to make his 100th appearance as well for West Ham, which would be good. So, yeah, look, but David Moyes has never beaten Brighton, so something's got to end at one point, in it. So let's hope that it starts tomorrow.
So it don't take as long as it took us to win at Anfield after
he'd never beaten Pochettino.
We've only won 2 of our last 18. We've only won 2 of our last 18 Premier League away games as well, which we need to change this season if we're going to have any sort of success in the Premier League. So
that's horrific. Oh gosh.
And can we keep the run going? Unbeaten since Prague.
Yeah, that's it, mate.
Well, before we get predictions in, I'll quickly read this super chat. EBF and Co. 499 super chat. Thank you, EBF and Co. Any tips, lads, where, time, or day is the best place to go to get my Ben Rama shirt signed? Any tips?
I suppose, is he on about tomorrow or just in general? If in general, then I'd say just go to the training ground. But I don't know how the players, if they stop nowadays. I haven't obviously been to the new training ground.
Me and Nicky was there trying to get some stuff signed, and some players drive and stop. Some players go around the far exit when they see you, so they don't have to stop for fans. And some will just drive. So it depends. Like, you're not going to get it guaranteed to be signed. Other times you can go after games. There's usually like wherever the bus is, the coach is, and get them when they're getting on the coach. That's an option as well. So say if you're going to Brighton tomorrow, find out where the away coach is going to be and go there and see if you can get that signed. Otherwise, it's trying to see if they're going to be in the club shop. Sometimes they do events like where they get players in at the club shop and do signings and stuff like that. Any other ideas, guys?
Nick's just suggested a couple of places.
Oh, the hotel in Canary Wharf.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, look,
that's probably your best bet.
It's mad these days because when I was a youngster, I used to go Chadweath and you could get the players to sign anything you wanted. The amount of stuff I got signed, like going to Chadweath. But now the players, as Dan said, they either drive off or go different exits. They don't really want to stop now, which is a shame because, I know there's a lot of obviously autograph hunters and things like that, but there are kids there as well that just want to meet their heroes. And
we was there for charity. Me and Nicky were getting stuff signed for charity. We got a shirt, some signed, but Adrian was the best that day. Honestly, Adrian was quality. Like he, big smile on his face, had time for everyone. That'll always stick with me about Adrian of what a quality bloke he was.
I think you get that some players are still, like you said, right, the old school type. They do it all day long. I think it's the connection. We've said this before, innit? Some of the modern day footballers are disconnected from the fans and the way the fans are, and I think that's what on the day you could be having a shit day and just want to get home. We all have them, but I feel sometimes
I've had a right shit day training for 2 hours and fucking
no, but
going
you know what I mean. You can have other stuff going on.
No, I know.
Like that, I think at the end of the day, look, you can't sit there and say, "Oh, they should stop every day," because you get loads of people turning up and they never get out of there. But I think a lot of time players do need to remember the reason they're as popular as they are is because of the fans that stand there supporting them week in, week out.
Yeah, absolutely.
I agree.
Anyway, predictions. That's a reminder. Trains are buggered, by the way, tomorrow, which you guys know. You're driving down there, isn't it, right? So,
we're driving tomorrow because the trains are. It's a shame because I like Brighton, getting on the train early, having a couple of drinks.
It's so much easier, isn't it?
The
trains are nice and quick. Yeah.
And so we're driving. Well, and Andy's driving us tomorrow, so a big shout out to Andy Miles. He'll be putting in the miles tomorrow.
Andy Miles putting in the miles. Because someone say hello to Jordan, 35 today. His first away game tomorrow.
And you know what, right? I've just remembered saying.
Happy birthday, Jordan, by the way. And fingers crossed for your first win tomorrow and your first away game, mate.
He might be the good luck. Happy birthday, Jordan.
If we win, get him an away season ticket, we'll be unbeaten.
Yeah. There was someone else who asked for a birthday shout out last week. Yes, I'm just going to find it because I got back to him today, the other day. It is. Hang on, I'll screenshot it and send it over to you.
I would ban players wearing headphones. I think that's a big thing, and I think there was talks about what Noble when he was captain at the club. Like I think it was Lingard who said it. He used to have his headphones on, and Noble would get him to take his headphones off and chat and be part of the conversation, and that made him feel more connected to the team. So I think that's a good point there.
Come on, Scott, read out your birthday message.
I'm just double checking it's the right one. I think that's the right one. I'm just going back through my messages.
Oh, well prepared, Scott.
Sorry, mate. Do you know what? It's just coming to me head. I was sitting on a sun lounger when I messaged him back.
Well, that don't tell me nothing, Scott. That's just telling me someone's name.
No, that's his name. That's his name. So yeah.
Well, go on, then read it out.
What's his name? Hang on, hold on. Sean Duffy. Happy birthday. Sorry, mate. I had to find it first.
Happy birthday, Sean Duffy. You should have just said that.
No, I was finding it. I screenshotted it so I could scroll back through the messages because I was sitting there. I was sitting on the sun lounger. Saw he reached out last week because I think it was his birthday on Monday. And he asked for a shout out last week and we didn't see it. So I got
happy birthday last week. Anyone who's having a birthday, happy birthday.
He might not watch that. He might think, "Oh well, fuck his then." Like he didn't read it out. Fuck yeah.
This is a shout out to everyone that watches us who's got a birthday this year. Happy birthday! So everyone gets a shout out now.
Shout out for all your birthdays, whenever it is.
Yeah.
But yeah, predictions. Beat around the bush for a while. This is the tricky bit. Oh mate, predictions.
I'm gonna go 2-2.
Oh, you nicked my
one as well.
Oh yeah, all right. I'm going to say 3-2 West Ham then.
I was honestly going to say 2-2.
Okay, because you've said that, Scott, I'm going to say.
Was we all going 2-2 then?
I was going to go 2-2. Yeah, I leaned.
So all of us said 2-2. So.
I'm going to go 2-1 Brighton then. I'm going to just be realistic because it's psychology. It's all psychology. Let me just put. I'm not expecting a win. I'm not expecting anything because that usually does me good there. So I'm going to say I'm putting that in 2-1 Brighton. Prove me wrong. Prove me wrong, West Ham.
Yeah,
We'll
I
see.
all the last couple of days, like I've been thinking 2-2, and I'm gonna stick to 2-2. But I hope I'll take a 1-0 scrappy David Moyes masterclass. 10 at
It
the
will
back.
be a masterclass. I tell you that for free. It will be a masterclass if he does that, especially without a Gued, honestly. Yeah. So let's see. Hopefully, look, there's all sorts of 3-1 hammers, 3-0 hammers. Bloody hell. 3-2 West Ham. Bloody hell. Some confident fans there.
Yeah, I'm loving the confidence. Yeah.
Yeah. Fans, get it on my board.
Yeah, you know, I'm always confident, always say we're going to win, but this is, yeah, I'm definitely sticking with 2-2.
Heart says 1-2, head says 2-1. Banging my head on the wall as we speak. Yeah, that's it. It's all about what the heart is. 4-4, bloody hell. That'd be game of the weekend.
That'd definitely be on first on match of the day.
That's the thing. You could see it being a high-scoring game, let's be honest.
Yeah. I mean, listen, it's going to be a mad one. I'm just going into that game. Look, no expectations. Let's just at least not put in the level of performance we saw last season. If we're going to lose, let's go down fighting. Let's give them a game. And then, look, we kick on from there. We've made a good start. We know it's a difficult game. Whatever happens, we'll dust ourselves off and on to the next one, which I hope. Is it Man City at home next? No.
Luton next Friday.
Okay, so yeah, Luton away. Yeah. So that's the one. So if we lose tomorrow, we haven't got to wait too long to bounce back. Bounce back Friday, Luton away. Are they? That's their first game at their ground. That's what you said.
First game at their ground, yeah, because the game against Burnley got postponed because they're still doing the ground up.
Let's christen that with a battering. I
don't know what they've done to it because it still looks a shithole.
Oh yeah, honestly, but no. Yeah, looking forward to the game regardless tomorrow. Hopefully Alvarez start. We'll be on there with the watch along, me, Jace, and Damo, and you'll see post match content with Scott and Nikki, and all sorts. And Scott is back in the country now.
Ryan and Nikki,
not Scott. Ryan and Nikki.
I'll be back for the preview for Luton.
Be back for the preview for Luton.
Yeah, we'll obviously be the fan cams and we'll do a reaction outside and obviously so lots going on tomorrow. So keep your eyes peeled. Hopefully we'll be talking about 3 points for the mighty Hammers.
Yeah, I tell you what. Just know if we win, the post-match content will be historic. I tell you that. At least listen.
I'm going to say that. If we beat Brighton tomorrow, it's a bigger win than us winning that European trophy. No, I'm joking. I'm joking.
I tell you what, it will feel like a trophy win. You see them scenes with me and Jason Damo after the Conference League win, and we're hugging and we're crying. That will be us tomorrow if we beat Brighton. I'll be there. Oh my God!
I'll be crying if we get a win.
I never thought it would happen. So, yeah, great chat. Thank you all for watching. Thanks for your super chats and your normal chats and all of that stuff. And thank you to Ryan and Scott. One thing left to say, lads.